Turbo and 2K show.
What is up, 2K crew? It is that time of the week again. It is podcast time. And yes, I am rolling solo tonight. 2K's is on call this evening. So, you know what that means. I see a lot of you are watching live. So go ahead and drop your comments, drop your opinions in the chat. Let's get a conversation going because these solo streams are fun, but they're even more fun when you guys and gals let me know your thoughts and opinions. So with that being said, welcome. We're watching Cubs Cardinals, Imanaga versus Sonny Gray tonight. We got a lot on deck. We got some news. We're going to talk about the NL MVP more in particular, but if you're talking to Vegas, that's already been decided. So we're going to look at that. We're going to look at the AL MVP, and we're going to talk about the current playoff and wild card standings as it sits right now, August 10th at 8:11 p.m. So without further ado, let's get it going. Start off with some news. I'm not sure what's going on with my camera, but we're just going to roll with it. For those of you that are watching live over on Twitter, over on Facebook, over on YouTube, thank you guys and gals so much for taking the time out of your Sunday evening. And oh, hold on. I think I know what it is. Hold on one second. Hey, there we go. That looks better. So as I was saying, for those of you that are watching live, thank you so much. Thank you for taking time out of your busy Sunday. And for those of you that are watching the replay, thank you again for taking the time out. If you're watching the clips on everywhere you can clip something, thank you so much. And if you're one of the OGs, whether you have us in your ears or in the car, we do appreciate the audio listeners. You guys and gals are the original OG 2K crew. And I thought my camera was looking weird. I was taking some stills earlier this weekend and didn't put it back in video mode. But now we're in video mode. Now we're locked in. And I know I'm not pretty, but at least this looks a little better. Not as pixelated. Let's talk about some news. First one we're going to talk about is actually the first couple are going to be kind of self fandom here, but 2K crew, we made it. FanDuel Sportsbook follows us on Twitter, so that's awesome. But yeah, hashtag not sponsored. Would love to be sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. And the next one is Red Sox signing Roman Anthony. This tweet's from Jeff Passan. Breaking. Outfielder Roman Anthony and the Boston Red Sox are finalizing an 8-year, $130 million contract, sources tell ESPN. The deal, which is pending a physical, includes a club option and will keep Anthony under team control through 2034. Now, what that tweet doesn't tell you is that there are escalators built in there, having to do with how he finishes in the American League Rookie of the Year, as well as moving forward how he finishes in the MVP races, and as always the All-Star bonus. So this, Jeff says it's initially $130 million, but can get up to 260. And I thought every single person in Red Sox Nation would be like, yes, we signed our next face of the franchise. We signed him earlier than anyone has ever signed for the pre-arbitration deals, the biggest contract for any pre-arbitration deal. So you're locking him up at age 21 for essentially the next 10 years. I thought everyone in Boston would be like, yes, this is amazing. And the jerk-offs, not every Boston fan is a jerk-off, but there are some that were like, well, what has he done? He's played 40-some games. And you're going to lock him up for the next 10 years? This is ridiculous. And to that, I have to say, are you fucking retarded? There has to be something up here that just doesn't compute. Even if Roman Anthony is an average MLB player for the next 10 years, which means he will not be hitting the escalators for the MVP, will not be hitting the escalators for the All-Star game. We'll finish out of the top 5 or top 10 in the rookie of the year, which isn't going to happen. So you're paying a guy pretty much $15 million a year. Now, to me, that doesn't, especially what contracts are going to look like after the CBA. If there is a lockout, what happens after that? I don't know. No one does. But to lock your 21-year-old superstar up for this long, and we just saw last night, top of the ninth, down by 1, hits a double, scores the tying run. And he's done this multiple times this year. He's batting over 280. He's playing either corner outfield spot, which he should be playing left, but either way, he's playing, aside from his very first game in the major leagues, has played an exceptional outfield. His chase rate is one of the best in the league. His hard hit ball rate is one of the best in the league. Now, there are people are going to say, well, Turbo, he only has 2 home runs. I don't give a shit. I don't. There's plenty of other people on this on the Red Sox squad that can hit many home runs and do. I would much rather have a young hitter figuring it out, and then the power comes instead of coming right in the major leagues, have power and struggle getting on base, struggle getting hits just to get the occasional home run. So I'm perfectly fine with this. I'm perfectly fine with this. As a matter of fact, I'm overjoyed. I am overjoyed. If you go further down the rabbit hole in Boston, Ceddanne Rafaela locked up, Christian Campbell locked up, obviously Roman Anthony, and there's a host of other young, and Garrett Crochet locked up. That's a pretty badass core to be moving forward with for the next 7, 8, 9 years. And we haven't even talked about Marcelo Meyer. We haven't even talked about a lot of these other guys that, Carlos Narvaez, very young guy as well. And this is a very, very good first step. Now, since Roman Anthony is signed, there's been a lot of hubbub going, all right, Boston. When's the Alex Bregman extension coming? When is it? Because we need Alex Bregman. He is pretty much essential. We saw how they played when they treaded water while he was gone. But you've seen once he's come back, what he's meant to this team. And an extension needs to be made. We need him here at least 3 more years, at least. And it's come out either today or yesterday. He said that he would much rather just focus on baseball this year and talk about the extension in the offseason, which I'm perfectly fine with. And it sounds, at least to me, within the Twitter articles that I've read, is there has been some conversation. And he's like, yeah, you know what? Let's worry about what's going on right now. Next year and beyond will basically figure itself out. And I'm perfectly okay with that. But he needs to be on the team. Needs it. We need it. Let's continue with some other cool happenings around the league. This one happened just today. This is from Underdog MLB. Justin Verlander is the 10th pitcher in Major League Baseball history to record 3,500 strikeouts. Kudos to you, JV. I know I speak for most all Tigers fans. It's a shame you had to do it away from the English D, but you did it. You did it. Now let's not look at his stats this season. But he did hit this milestone, and you know what? Verlander has earned the right to tell everyone when he wants to hang it up, and I have a feeling after this year, it's gonna be the year. It's gonna be the year. I mean, we could, in all honesty, we could see, excuse me, in the same offseason, we could see Verlander, Scherzer, and why am I so horrible with names tonight? Clayton Kershaw all retire in the same year. Wouldn't that be awesome? 3 first ballot Hall of Famers, no doubt, strolling into the Hall all at the same time. And it would be kind of cool if Verlander and Scherzer went in the same year, the old Tigers teammates, brief Mets teammates. So yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. And let's continue on the Verlander train here. This is from Jed at Tigers JUK. 11,428 men have stepped foot on an MLB mound. Only 9 have struck out more hitters than Justin Verlander. How cool is that? And if you actually go to Rob Friedman, Pitching Ninja, if you go to his Twitter, it has like a video splice of Verlander's first strikeout and his 3,500th strikeout. So pretty cool. And if you're a baseball fan and you're not following Pitching Ninja, I don't know what your deal is. Don't know what your deal is. Well, let's continue talking about good things on the mound. This is your weekly Paul Skeens glaze. This is from Codify. Paul Skeens, 47 major league starts, 60 total earned runs. It sounds crazy, but I swear it's true. And this is just from 2 days ago. I mean, we're seeing a pitcher that should be. He's in his second season. He shouldn't be this good. He shouldn't be this good. And 2Ks and I talked about it last week. Every time he toes the rubber, it is must watch television. Regardless if the Pirates stink. Now just figure if they were good. Just figure if they were good, and you have to see them in the playoffs. You have to see Paul Skeens in a 3-game set, in a 5-game set, or a possible 7-game set. No, thank you. No, thank you. If that team is good. Now, they're not. But if they were, you would get Paul Skeens game 1 in all 3 of those series. So pretty much you're down 0-1 if you're the other team. But we will see what the ownership over in Pittsburgh has to say about that, because I have a feeling we're not going to see it. We're not going to see it. And kind of continuing on with this ERA talk. Now, some of these numbers have changed, so I did want to grab the up-to-date numbers. But it kind of tells you, how good of a season Matt Boyd has had. Now, Andrew Abbott has been replaced on this list, but this is from MLB Deadline News. MLB qualified ERA leaders. Number 1, Paul Skeens at 2.02, which is actually 1.94. Tariq Skubal, 2.18. Skubal is 2.35. Garrett Crochet, 2.24. And Crochet is actually at 2.24. And these are tied for 4th, just like we all expected. Andrew Abbott and Matthew Boyd. Now, he has Matthew Boyd at 2.34. He's actually at 2.45. Christopher Sanchez for the Phillies slid into that 4th spot with 2.36. But you could have never in a million years at the beginning of the season would I ever have Matthew Boyd having a career resurgence year for the Cubs. Career resurgent. Now, we saw a little bit of it. I believe he was with the Guardians last year in the playoffs. Towards their playoff run, we saw kind of, definitely not a number 1. Definitely not. But a serviceable playoff pitcher. And now, I mean, he's obviously leading the Cubs in ERA. Excuse me. And let's see about wins. Yeah, it's gone. But yeah, it just goes to show you how good of a season he has had. Now, the Cubs have been scuffling. Mightily, which we'll get into in a later part of the show. But it just goes to show you, I mean, coming out of nowhere. And if you're a Cubs fan, you love it because he was a very inexpensive ad in the offseason. So kudos to him. Now let's kind of talk about some not good news. And this is a tweet from Hembo over at ESPN. Run differentials this season, and I found this very shocking because the 3 teams on this list, the Blue Jays, the Padres, and the Mets. Now, the Mets have been pretty shitty here lately, but these are 3 teams that we all think about making the playoffs, especially the Blue Jays leading the American League East. The Padres are in the, I believe the Padres and the Mets are in the National League wild card picture, but it just goes to show you how these teams beat up on the Rockies. Okay, the Blue Jays have a plus 39 run differential versus the Rockies in 3 games. So in 3 games, the Blue Jays have outscored the Rockies by 39 runs, and they're plus 16 versus everyone else. The Padres are plus 35 against the Rockies in 6 games, plus 3 versus everyone else. The Mets are plus 27 versus the Rockies in 6 games. Excuse me, and plus 8 excuse me, versus everyone else. The Rockies aren't just bad; they're warping the playoff picture. And if you guys and gals were with us, with us when 2Ks and I were doing our preseason picks, I said that go because it happened last year. It happened last year. Whoever in the American League Central had the best record against the White Sox would win the division. Now, the Tigers have taken care of business. That's not a thing. But if you remember back last year, there were teams that, for whatever reason, the White Sox beat, even though they had no business beating them. I mean, they went on like a 22 game slide in a row. And the playoff picture had a lot to do with teams' record against the White Sox. Now, with that tweet, we're kind of seeing the same thing with the Rockies, however, on a vastly different scope. The Rockies are a much worse baseball team than the White Sox were last year, and much worse than the A's the year prior. At least with those with this White Sox team and with the A's team 2 years ago, they had names on them that you knew. This Rockies team, I have no clue. No clue. The only one that I even really know of would be Chris Bryant. I don't even know if he's playing. And knowing his injury past, probably isn't. Probably is not. So it just kind of goes to show you how kind of crummy and shitty this Rockies team is. Now, I have a very good feeling, and I know people make the argument every year about, oh, well, the number one college team would definitely hang or beat the worst NFL team. That's not the case. However, if we're talking about a AAA team beating the Rockies, I would put the Woo Sox up against the Rockies in a 5-game or 7-game series, hands down. And I have a very good feeling that the Woo Sox would be favored. So would Toledo. Would be favored. There's not a doubt in my mind. Not a doubt in my mind. I do have a couple tweets here to talk about some football. We've got football coming up. We've got preseason rolling along. So yeah, let's kind of and again, these aren't super happy tweets about football, but just something to get the juices flowing. Get the juices flowing. I know you parents around here, especially if your child is playing football, they've started camp. We've seen all of the college teams starting camp, and we've got NFL camps rolling right along. But let's take a look at how much it would cost if you wanted to watch every single NFL game. This is from Dov Kleinman. Breaking: to watch the entire NFL season, it will cost fans over $1,000 a year. This blew my mind. To watch every NFL game, you will need each of the following streaming services. ESPN, the DTC is direct to consumer, which is their new thing. They're rolling it out for $29.99 a month. I have a feeling this is where Red Zone is going to live, is within this ESPN DTC. Amazon Prime for $15 a month, Peacock for $11 or $12 a month, Paramount Plus $12 a month, Fox One, excuse me, $19.99 a month, Netflix $22.99 a month, NFL Sunday Ticket one time $480, which comes to a $1,171.64 to be exact. Simply insane. Now let's take a step back and let's kind of digest that, okay? Now, that's saying if you want to watch every single NFL game. Why would anyone want to watch every single NFL game? Now, I know people this day and age have more than one TV in their room, in their living room, or they're rolling with one TV and their laptop, their phone, iPad. I get that. I get that. And like we talked, like 2Ks and I talked about last week, I'm not a big red zone guy. I'm not a big quad box guy. I like to watch just one game. And normally the games that I choose have something to do with who I'm betting on, who's on my fantasy team. I mean, you get options even with just the standard YouTube TV. You get all the local options. And yes, I have a very good feeling that most of us have Netflix already. Most of us have Amazon Prime already. And like 2K said earlier, he's like, or last week, he's like, it's getting to the point where the vast majority of people were, cutting the cord on either Dish or DirecTV because it was cheaper simply to stream everything. And it's almost not the case anymore. It's almost not. If you take the $89 or whatever it is for YouTube TV plus Paramount plus Amazon TV plus Netflix plus, you're looking at almost $150 a month just to watch fucking sports on TV. Now, and don't even get me started. Now, I know we're talking NFL, but don't get me started about YouTube TV and the MLB network. That just infuriates me. That infuriates me. We keep paying more and more and more and more, and you keep taking channels away. But that's a story for a whole other day. But it's gotten to the point where, yes, I understand. Looking at it from the league's perspective, these streaming services are paying you millions and millions of dollars to stream or to provide, for you to provide their content to the viewers. I get that. And there's a lot of money to be made at it. A lot of money. And I have a feeling that there's going to be one of these streaming services that are going to be late to the game, and they're actually the ones that are going to lose money because folks like you and I who cannot afford $1,100 to watch every NFL game are going to say enough's enough. Enough is enough. And be like, you know what? I'm done with that one. Or I'll do the free trial and then I'm done. I can't do it. And I think that's kind of where it's going to lead to, but I also know that football is a money printing machine. And when is it going to stop? I don't know. And yes, the only thing on that list that is NFL specific is the season ticket. Most of those other streaming services provide other sporting events, so you might already have them already for college football or something like that. So it is what it is. My point is, it's just getting utterly ridiculous. And if you're a Browns fan, this next one is going to be even more ridiculous. This is from ML Football. Wild stat. The Houston Oilers have won their division more recently than the Cleveland Browns. The Houston Oilers franchise last played an NFL game in 1996. Let that sink in. 1996. The Cleveland Browns have not won their division since at least before 96. And it's not looking good for 2025 either. All right, well let's get to the question du jour here, because that's what the thumbnail is about. That's what everything is about. So let's talk about Schwarber. Does he have a chance to win the NL MVP? Now, if you're talking to Vegas, they're saying not a fucking chance in hell. Not a chance in hell. Because right now, on August 10th, if you wanted to take Shohei Ohtani as your National League MVP, you're getting a cool minus 20,000 on your money. minus 20,000. And the next closest person to Mr. Ohtani is the aforementioned Schwarber at plus 2,000. Plus 2,000. Now, let's take a look at the stats. Let's take a look at the stats. Now, the one stat that I didn't pull, which is WAR, which I probably should have. Schwarber has 41 home runs. He is, let's see here. He's second in all of baseball, not just the National League, in all of baseball, tied with Ohtani with 41. He has 95 RBIs, which is second in all of baseball. And he's got a 252 average, which we've seen Schwarber be below this at the 180 line and still have the same power production, same offensive production, just with it. It's either seems like a walk, a strikeout, or a home run. That's pretty much what we've talked about in the past. Now let's take a look at Ohtani. Ohtani is tied with 41 home runs, 76 RBIs, and has a 282 batting average. Now, I know he's been pitching, and he's been pitching well. The Dodgers are starting to extend him, but he, on the season so far, has 0 wins, 0 losses, a 2.37 ERA, 25 strikeouts, and 19 innings pitched. And I know, yes, the pitching numbers are going to increase. The number of innings are going to increase. The strikeouts are going to increase as the season moves along. But we're talking about right now, today, August 10th, 2025. Does Kyle Schwarber have a legitimate shot at winning the MVP? And for FanDuel to have minus 20,000, minus 20,000. Let me double check just to make that so that's the right zeros. Yeah, minus 20,000. It's essentially saying that Shohei Ohtani is a lock in this, and they should actually just turn the betting off for this. But I think the reason they haven't done it yet is because there still is a lot of season left. In baseball in particular, we've seen Aaron Judge. Now, we'll get to the American League part here in a second, but there is no way you can tell me, and I think a lot of this has to do with name. I have a lot of it has to do with, yes, Turbo, he does pitch. But to me, Kyle Schwarber is more of an MVP right now than Shohei Ohtani. We went over the numbers. I get it. The only number that Shohei's better than Schwarber is batting average, and it's by 30 points. It's not like Schwarber's batting 180 and Shohei's batting 300. It's not that far apart. And we've seen as of late, the days Shohei pitches, he's batting less than 200. I know that I know his last start, he hit a home run and pitched, and they lost. It wasn't a loss because of him, because I don't believe pitched enough innings to qualify for the win. But it's just the sheer point that just because, and now keep in mind, I'm not saying that comparing his MVP with the Angels, where he pitched a lot, that was well deserved. But we're talking about 19 innings so far. There is no way he's getting to 100 innings. So is that more of a, is that just the fact that he pitches, does that make it more valuable? I mean, we're talking 22,000 betting points difference between him and Schwarber. Will Ohtani end up winning it? Most likely. But what I'm saying is, the amount of, I'm not going to say disrespect, but the amount of just people bypassing what Kyle Schwarber is doing, excuse me, is kind of crazy. And if I was Schwarbs, I would look at it as disrespect. I 100% would. And I get it. Schwarber's more of a DH. I get it. If Shohei wasn't pitching, he's a DH too. He won it as a DH last year. So this whole, oh, he's just a DH, that shit doesn't matter anymore. That shit doesn't matter anymore. Not with every, all the DH being in every team in the major leagues. That's not an argument anymore. I could see it more prior to that because it's just an American League award. But now that it is an accepted rule that every team in baseball has a DH, and teams that have a very good DH, not just one that they just use as like a day off spot, which not every team does that, but the ones that do, they don't have that dude that like an Ohtani, like a Schwarbs, that are dominant DHs. And now we're speaking of that. Now we're seeing Judge after he came off the IL being pretty much a full-time DH until he gets healed up better. And how long is that going to take? I don't know, but I have a very good feeling Yankee fans are like, please sooner rather than later, because we're tired of seeing Giancarlo Stanton run around in the outfield. And that's kind of what you're getting, bringing Judge back when he's not fully healthy. And so we'll see how that goes. We'll see where that goes. But yeah, the title and the clickbait, the title and the thumbnail were rather clickbaity. I get it. And if you're going strictly by numbers, Kyle Schwarber is definitely being disrespected when it comes to comparing himself to Ohtani. If Ohtani would have pitched this whole year and was had 200 innings or whatever it is, yes, then I could see it being such a landslide. But since it's not, I think Schwarber's getting the raw end of the deal here. I really do. Well, let's take a peek at the American League MVP, because there was a lot of folks when Aaron Judge went on the show for like, oh, this is Cal Raleigh's to lose. And prior to that, Aaron Judge had a stranglehold on this race, and now, according to FanDuel, they're tied. If you wanted to lay money on Cal or Aaron Judge, you'd be getting minus 115. Now, this is a race that is a 2-horse race. Well, both of them are actually, but we go from minus 115 to plus 10,000 for Bobby Witt Jr. And you could say Bobby Witt Jr. had a better year last year, and now he's probably going to end up third in the MVP voting. I think if Skubal would be this is going to sound completely asinine because Terry Skubal has been phenomenal. But if he was a little bit better, I think you would see him in that number 3 spot, which he's tied with Bobby Witt Jr. and Jose Ramirez. But I have a feeling he would be a tier above them, and then Witt and Ramirez would be tied. But yeah, this is a 2-horse race with both of them being minus money right now. And let's take a peek at the stats. Let's take a peek. There's going to be a glaring difference between Aaron Judge's batting average and Cal's, obviously. Judge leads all major leagues with 337. And let's see how far down we have to go. If I was a good podcast host, I'd already have this. Well, he's not in the top 50. I don't think. No, which means it is a glaring difference in batting average. So let's put it that way. Now, let's switch this to American League. In home runs, Cal Raleigh has 45 to Aaron Judge's 37. And Judge is tied with Suarez now that he's with, the Mariners. RBIs. Raleigh leads that with 98. Suarez has 92. Taylor Ward for the Angels has 87. Riley Green for the Tigers has 87, and Aaron Judge with 86. So with the other, let's see where they got hits at. No. So with the other three big, or the other two big areas here, Cal has a sizable advantage in both home runs and RBIs. So I guess and now mind you, he's doing this as a catcher and as a DH, taking very, very few days off. And yes, Judge had the IL stint, which for him, the last couple years have been relatively healthy. And I know at the beginning of the season, we were all saying he's going to blow by his own record, his own American League single season home run record. He's going to hit 400. He's going to win the Triple Crown. He came back down to earth. There is no way. I shouldn't say there's no way, but the likelihood of him keeping that pace for all 162 is asinine to think about. Asinine. Is Aaron Judge still one of the best hitters in baseball? Absolutely. 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 However, the Yankees, on the other hand, are not nearly the best team in baseball or one of the best teams in baseball, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But if you want my vote, Cal Raleigh's getting in the American League. Kyle Schwarber's getting in the National League. Now, like I said, probably going to be in the minority for the National League. And I will tell you first and foremost, the reason I'm saying Schwarber is not because of just Ohtani this, Ohtani that. Everyone has a Ohtani hangover. I'm not like that. I love watching Ohtani play. I love seeing him pitch. If I was the Dodgers, he wouldn't be pitching, but their pitching staff sucks. So that's kind of why I think they're having him do this. If they had all of their horses healthy, we probably wouldn't see Shohei pitch ever again. And I'd be perfectly fine with that. Give me the 50-50 guy every year. Give it to me. So it's definitely not an Ohtani hangover. I'm just saying that, and if Schwarber doesn't win it, it shouldn't be by a landslide like FanDuel has it right now. So give some love to Schwarber. Give some love to Schwarber. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But before we move on, I do have a couple cool Ohtani stats here. This is from Codify. Shohei Ohtani had driven in 77 runs this season, and 41 of those runners have been named Shohei Ohtani. Which, if you think about it, it's like, okay, dude's hitting a lot of solo home runs. Well, yeah, I mean, he's the leadoff hitter. So at least once a game, he's guaranteed to have at least one plate appearance where there's no one on. And when you have the other two guys behind him, also MVPs, I could see how the RBIs would be more evenly distributed between the Dodgers 1, 2, and 3 hitters. But just the fact that he is the leadoff guy, and not to say that the vast majority of his home runs are, leadoff home runs to start the game, but some of them are. Some of them are. And yeah, it's not slow pitch softball where you get, you definitely don't want to hit solo home runs. This is baseball. There's not a home run cap. So hit away. Hit away. Hit away. And I've got one more Ohtani stat coming at you. Again from Code. Oh, that's the other one. This is from Baseball is Dead. Shohei's 1,000th career hit was a home run, obviously. And he tends to do that. He tends to make the milestone, I guess you could say, memorable. We saw once he went past that 50-50 mark, he hit his 50th home run or 48th and 50th home run and his 50th stolen base, if I remember correctly, in the same game. So, dude just has a flair for the dramatic, and why not? Why not? All right, 2K crew, let's take a look at the current playoff stats. Let me know your thoughts on the MVP. Am I completely off on this, or is it just so much of a lock that Ohtani's the NL MVP? Because I don't really think so. All right, let's start off the top. American League East. American League East is heating up, 2K crew. This Toronto's Blue Jays team, even though they almost got swept by the Dodgers, they're 6-4 in their last 10. Okay. And excuse me, with the Red Sox 4 games back and the Yankees 6.5 back. Now, let me check something to see if that's still a real stat. It is not. It is not. Okay. This American League East is weird. We've seen the Yankees get off to the hot start. We've seen the Red Sox be probably the biggest roller coaster team in baseball. Now we're seeing the Blue Jays, where if you rewind like 3 weeks ago, we talked about, are the Blue Jays for real? Are the Blue Jays the best team in the American League, in baseball, period? And it just seems to me like they do the right things to win. They play good baseball. They pitch, they hit, they field. And this was a team that I guarantee prior to the season, the big talk was, did they overpay for Vlad? Which, yes, they did. But they were going to throw the exact same amount of money that the Dodgers did at Ohtani. Ohtani said, I'm not playing in Canada. They were in heavily on Juan Soto. Juan Soto said, I'm not playing in Canada. They already had Vlad in country, so they said, you know what? We've got to get a guy here that we can build around. Vlad, let it be you. Here's $500 million. And did it prior to him hitting free agency, because had he hit free agency, I don't think that number starts with a 5. I think it starts with a 4, and maybe the Blue Jays would have gotten a little bit of a discount, but he's homegrown. I understand the overpay. I get it. Like we talked about with the Red Sox, signing all of their young core players to multi-year extensions. This is a team that's going to be around for quite a while. And to get back to that Blue Jays team, we all thought that by this time, prior to the season, was Vlad going to be moved? Was Bichette going to be moved? Were a lot of these young players that they had brought up kind of all at the same time, that that really hadn't panned out? What are they going to do with it? Is it time to blow it up? Is it time to rebuild, north of the border? And they said, no, we got this. And their patience and, the acquisitions they got in the offseason are coming to fruition. And we did see, the big trade for Justin Bieber, who, like we talked about last week, those Bieber jerseys in Canada are going to be so hot. Going to see a lot of those wandering around Toronto. I have a very good feeling. And he hasn't even pitched with the big league ball club. He's still down in AAA. So you're going to get him in the mix. That's kind of a lottery ticket. You never know what's going to happen with that. Now, the AL Central, we all thought that this was just a lock. The Tigers were going to walk away with this. They had a 10.5 game lead. Well, that 10.5 game lead is now 6. Don't look now, but the Guardians are 5 games over 500, and they're on a little bit of a run themselves too. They're 8-2 in their last 10, where the Tigers are 5-5. However, I will say this Tigers team just today, it's good to see Riley Green get off the schneid. It is good to see them hitting. Granted, they were playing an Angels team, but this Tigers team, well, all teams are going to have their ups and their downs. This just happens to be a down that all Tigers fans should feel very fortunate that they had the 10.5 game lead going into this schneid that they're on, because it affords them the grace and the opportunity to live through it. And I think they'll get out of it. They're going to get back to the team that they were, probably right in time for the playoffs. So as a Tigers fan, should you be worried? A little bit. But the team played so well leading up to the slide that it gives them that cushion to figure shit out. And AJ Hinch is too good of a manager for them not to figure this out. AL West is a doozy. 2K crew is a doozy. We got the Astros sitting on top. The Seattle Mariners, who a lot of folks said won the trade deadline with their acquisitions, are sitting a half game back. This Mariners squad is 10-1 in their last 9 on a 7-game winning streak. 2K crew. And the Astros are 5-5 in their last 10. Don't look now. The Rangers are 6.5 back. Now, mind you, the Rangers are one game over 500. Are you really going to take them for real? Going 3-7 in their last 10, losing their last 4. I don't know if I would be drinking that Kool-Aid right now, but that starting staff is legit. That starting staff is legit. So if I'm anyone in the American League, I would not want to face the Rangers in the best of 3 or best of 5. Nope. When your starting rotation is Eovaldi and DeGrom, nope. And we've seen their young starters after that blossom this season. No, thank you. Let's switch gears to the National League. The East has the Phillies sitting atop, and they've kind of carved out a nice little pocket here. They're 5.5 games up on the Mets. The Marlins are 11.5 back, but this Marlins team they're playing good baseball. Now, if they've been playing this kind of baseball the whole season, I have a feeling we wouldn't see them 4 games under 500 right now and 11.5 games back of the Phillies. But I'm not saying they're going to be a dangerous team and they're watch out in the wild card. But there's gonna be some playoff ready or playoff bound teams match up against the Marlins. And this rendition of the Marlins, this isn't just a gimme. You're not just going to go roll over the Marlins right now. So could they play spoiler to a lot of these playoff bound or have these teams that have playoff aspirations? Yes, absolutely. So if you're a Fish fan, if they would have got this shit figured out at the beginning of the year instead of in August, who knows what could have happened? Who knows? But like we said, we're kind of give you a checkup in the game. Cardinals are up 2-0 on the Cubs, top of the 4th. And in that division right now, the Brewers, the scalding hot Brewers, they're the hottest team in baseball right now, if not the best team in baseball. Let's see, they have 73 wins. 73. Yes, they do have the best record in baseball. 9-1 in their last 10. On a 9-game winning streak. They've opened up a nice lead on the Cubs, 5.5 games. And the Reds, 12, which that's kind of disappointing because there's a lot of folks that were, myself included, that were very excited to see this Reds team post-trade deadline, but they did the same exact thing that they've done every trade deadline, which is nothing. Absolutely nothing. Or at least nothing to write home about. This Reds team, keep an eye on them because the Cubs have some major decisions coming their way in the offseason. And it's going to be Kyle Tucker, which is going to be a very, very hefty paycheck. Very hefty paycheck. So, and I'm sure all Cubs fans want them to ink that extension sooner rather than later. But I have a feeling that's one that's going to be off-season time. But yeah, this we could be seeing a whole, I'm not going to say a blow up of the Cubs, but this Reds team, it's pesky. This is going to be a pesky Reds team if their starting pitching gets their act together. Which with the horses they keep bringing up, geez, oh Pete's, they just need to get some bats. And with Tita with the helm, I have no qualms about that Reds team whatsoever. And to wrap up before we get into the wild card here, the Dodgers are leading the NL West, 2 games up on the Padres. They took 2 out of 3 from my Red Sox. They're 7-3 of their last 10, winners of the last 2. And I'm pretty sure we can just cap it right there because the Giants are sitting there at 500, 9 games back. So the division is probably a little bit out of reach for the Giants, even though they were the ones that kind of started off this whole, trading thing and trading for Rafael Devers, and it hasn't gone very good over there for him. Hasn't gone good. Let's take a peek at the wild card here. In the American League, Seattle and Boston and New York have the 3 wild card spots. Guardians are a half game back. Rangers are 2.5 back. Kansas City 5 games back, 4 games back. And then there's a couple at 5.5, one at 6. So this is very close, very close. And the Mariners are a game up on the Red Sox, and the Red Sox are 2.5 games up on the Yankees. And the Cubs are leading. Cubs, Padres, Mets, if the season ended today, would have the 3 wild card spots. The Reds are a game and a half back of the Mets. Cardinals 4, Giants 4. We'll just cap it at that. With so many teams to jump those, well, it's not so many. I guess it's 1, but it's 4 seems like the max. If we're sitting here at August 10th, 4, and if you with those teams like the Cardinals, they're leading 2-0 right now. They have a run differential of -19. They've won 4 of their last 10. Giants are +11. They're 5-5, and the Reds, they're +41 run differential, and they're 5-5. So all those teams right there that are in. We won't even talk about the Mets playing average baseball because the Mets are playing terrible baseball. No one in New York is playing good baseball. Let's just put it that way. But when you have such blah team, just mediocre baseball being played, and you can't elevate yourself in this wild card race to play better than average baseball, it's going to be hard to leapfrog some of these teams and get into the picture. And once you are in the picture, because like the Mets, even though they're 1-9 in their last 10, they have a +30 run differential. The Padres are we talked about winning 7 of their last 10. They have a +35, and the Cubs are 5-5 in their last 10 with a run differential of 118. So that whole 3 of these things belong together. One of these things is not the same. Yeah, +118 run differential is not the same. Is not the same at all. So when all the teams around you are playing just blah baseball and you can't play just a little bit above average baseball, and I know we're taking a kind of a short snippet here, the last 10, but shouldn't you be, if you want to be a playoff team, shouldn't you be winning 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10, especially 6 out of 10? That's not too much to ask. Especially if you want to consider yourself a legit playoff team. But that seems to be just the whole kind of aura, I guess is the word that all the kids are using these days. That's just kind of the aura of this season. We've talked about it many times about how prior to the season, everyone's like, why are we even playing? The Dodgers just spent $2 billion on players. They're going to win 120 games. Not even close. Not even close. And we talked about some teams that prior to this season wouldn't give them given them a chance in hell. So maybe this is the 2025 will go down as in some folks' eyes just the season of mediocrity. But I have a feeling those same people are the ones that don't enjoy just good baseball. And yes, you might say, well, Turbo, a lot of these teams are average or below average. Yeah, happens every year. Happens every year. But what every league tries to do is have some sort of competitive balance. And MLB is achieving that. They're achieving that all across the board. The biggest, yeah, the biggest difference from first to second place in a division is 6. 6 and then 5.5, 5.5, 2, 4. So it's almost like there's, yeah, it's not like there aren't, even though this is a season where we all thought that the Dodgers were building a super team, that you might as well pencil them in for 8 of the next 10 World Series with all the checks that they have and will write. I think we're in for a excuse me. I think we're going to be in for a little bit more of a treat than what most people think. And for those of you that have told me many times in the comments of it, whether they're the clips or this show or any of our other stuff, just wait till the postseason, Turbo. This is what the Dodgers do. This is what the Dodgers do. Once we get to the postseason, watch out. You sure? Are you sure? Yeah, last year was awesome. Awesome if you're a Dodgers fan. But I believe it was last year you guys ran into the Padres and it went 7. You were 1 game away from not making it past the Padres. So don't give me this. Just wait till the playoffs, Turbo. Just wait. Because right now that starting staff for the Dodgers is not nearly what we thought it would be. The offense isn't nearly what we thought it would be. Ohtani's holding up his part. But we've seen a Mookie Betts who's not playing like the Mookie Betts that we've come to know. And I was, speaking of that, I was listening to the Sunday Night Baseball podcast, one of the ESPN ones with Buster Olney, and he had a beat writer on from LA talking about that same thing. And there was, there's a lot of folks that, and myself included, because when you're learning a new position, now granted, he was a shortstop when he came up very early in his career. We're talking like high A. He did play the infield. He did play some shortstop. He did play some second base, but the vast majority of it came in like high school. Okay. So now he's trying to play a position he's really not used to in the major leagues full time. Because you remember last year he started at shortstop, got hurt, and then got put back into right field. So it's not, this will be the first full season he's played as a major league shortstop. And even before the season, there was, he was sick. He lost a bunch of weight, and it was very hard for him to put the weight back on. And then it's like, okay, we're starting to see Mookie physically like we're used to seeing him. But when it comes to the production on the field, especially hitting, I mean, fielding has been fine. It's the hitting part that we've never seen him struggle like this before at the major leagues. And a lot of folks, myself included, were like, it's shortstop is a more demanding position than right field. So him focusing more on fielding has taken away from his hitting and this and that and this and that. And that's, and of course, this is all, from what folks see. It hasn't actually come from Mookie's mouth saying this is the reason why I'm not my normal self at the plate. But he's not a rookie. He's an established veteran. And normally when vets, they figure out the most efficient way they can to get themselves ready. Whether it's a pitcher, knowing exactly how many pitches he needs to throw in the bullpen to get warm prior to a start, how many swings a hitter needs to take before he's ready for that game that day, or how many ground balls or any fielding drills they need to do prior to the game before they feel like they're physically peaked and ready. And there's some folks that think that Mookie's just work ethic and his drive to be perfect is kind of taking away from his production. He's going at it too hard and too long. Is that true? I don't know, but it's another, I guess you could call it, theory that I hadn't even thought about, and it was good to hear that someone who's closer than you or I to the situation kind of pointed that out. I had never really thought about it, but this is not, and again, going back to a couple weeks ago, I told you every team in the majors is gettable. And I stand behind that. Stand behind that 110%. 2 weeks has not changed my mind, or 3 weeks, however long it was, has not changed my mind on that subject whatsoever. So, since every team is gettable, this playoff push is going to be amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I think with the way the playoffs have kind of structured themselves, that's why we saw the Padres go bullpen, because starters are only asked to go 4 and 5 innings in a playoff game, and then it's bullpen. And even in the World Series last year, we saw bullpen games. We saw openers in the fucking World Series. Just the nature of the game right now. So when or if the Padres make the playoffs, they're going to be scary. Their starting staff is getting healthy. We saw Michael King back yesterday. So moving forward, we have a team in the Padres that are going to challenge the Dodgers for that division probably until the very end of the season. and if you told Padres fans that at the beginning of the season, they would have said, "Give it to me. Give it to me. We're going to be competing for this division down to the wire with a team that has spent over $1 billion in the offseason. Fuck yes. Yes." And not only just the Padres. We're seeing this happen across the board. Yes, Milwaukee's on a hell of a run. They've won 9 straight. They have the best record in baseball. Are they gettable? Yeah, sure are. Sure are. Blue Jays, are they gettable? Yep. They're only 6 and 4 in their last 10. They've been gotten. Tigers, they were once the best team in baseball as well. They've been gotten. Astros, been gotten. Phillies, been gotten. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. The Mets, who took on the biggest contract in sports history. They've lost their last 7. So the parity in Major League Baseball is there. Parity is there. Now, if you're a fan of a team who sold everybody, aka the Twins, or they just stink, maybe pick a playoff team and ride with them just to give you that little bit of spark, because this is going to be a playoff for the ages. We're the likelihood of sweeps through any of these playoffs are going to be very few and far between. I think a lot of these playoff series are going to go the max. And for true sports fans, some of the best words on the planet are welcome to Game 7. All right, 2K crew, I hope everyone had a great time tonight. I know I did. I'm not sure we'll have a show next week. I'll let everyone know. 2Ks and I are golfing in an outing. So depending on how many adult beverages we have, we'll probably determine whether there is a show or not. But if not, we will see you the following week. And as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.